Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 11, which is the intro to monetization. So I noticed that a couple people have actually already started to work ahead in the class. Totally fine. Publish it for you to do that. But just wanted to make sure I get a video out as a brief explainer on some of the things that we're going to talk about over the next couple weeks as we lead into the last couple projects and final. So kind of unique thing about this class is the all of the last couple projects and final actually kind of tie into each other. So they're all going to be due on finals week. So I'm going to try to have everything published next week so that you have that and can look ahead on all the things that you'll have to do to wrap up this semester. The only thing that may not be done are weekly videos. Um, I might record those ahead of time anyways. We'll find out. But this week is all about kind of the intro to monetization for an esports org. So I have some notes that I just added to the module that I just want to talk through really quick on video for you guys, and then that'll pretty much be it. So let's move on. Okay, here we are. I think you guys can see this. Okay. I'll, it, there we go. So first off, sponsorships with brand kind of association and things like that. So historically, for esports, sponsorships have kind of been like how teams operate. Basically, without sponsorship money, teams fold. That's been the case a long time for esports, and we're finally starting to see teams like branch out, make that not the case. I think the big thing there is just how many teams on the professional or collegiate side have just shuttered because they just didn't have the sponsorship dollars to keep everything going. So essentially, a sponsorship companies will pay teams to represent their brand, and that could be in a couple ways. It could just be like bought on the jersey. It could be video activation, social media posts, making sure that your player wears these headphones while going to the event on stream, use this mouse, those types of things. A lot of times it'll be in the form of like content or jersey partnerships or equipment partnerships, being the official mouse of this team kind of thing. You see it all over the place. Well, a couple things with the sponsorships to kind of make it feel more associated with the brand is you want it to feel authentic and align with the community. So you don't want um yeah, basically you don't want conflicting ideas with your sponsors, okay? So if you have, I don't know if this is the best example, but if you have a player who is a controller player, right? And this is the official mouse of this player, that's a little weird. Not gonna feel authentic. The community's gonna be like, oh well, he's just taking money. Dude uses a PS5 controller. Why is he sponsored by SteelSeries for their mice? It's not gonna make you want to buy it. Not gonna make you feel like aligned with that company at all. So just some things there. Bad fits can alienate the fans. Monetization has to respect the audience and its culture. Again, just kind of talking about the alignment. Want it to feel authentic. Like, oh yes, my this player one would 100% use that. That makes total sense. Those types of things. And then the over reliance of sponsorships. Um, Kind of led to what I've been calling an esports recession after COVID. Essentially, real sports or traditional sports shut down or went to a bubble. Um, and so all these companies still had money to spend for marketing and sponsorship. They went to esports. So they sponsored esports teams, tournaments, events because esports can play online. It's the same game. Can't play baseball online, but you can play Call of Duty online. So a lot of companies went to these teams and orgs and things. So huge, so much cash flow into all these esports organizations. And then the orgs just weren't meeting their deliverables. They weren't getting the views, weren't getting the um, like selling all the things that maybe a traditional sports team would. So then as soon as those contracts expired, the sponsors didn't come back and real sports were opening again. So they took their money back and went that way. So then that led to a lot of teams shutting down, operating differently, making huge cuts to staff, teams, things like that, just because they couldn't afford it. So that's one thing that you want to be wary of. You don't want to rely too much on sponsorships. Next section, content as a revenue and engagement tool. So beyond competition, esports teams often operate like media companies. I feel like almost all of you have mentioned FaZe Clan at least one point throughout this semester. So you understand that. But they will create content to drive engagement, build brand loyalty, unlock advertising or YouTube and Twitch revenue. Basically, if a team has a YouTube channel that gets 1 million views per video, sponsors are gonna be like, "Oh, that's 1 million people that are gonna see this sponsored segment or this sponsored integration and things like that." Um, so what teams have done have started building up that brand so that they can get sponsors, relate to their fans, get revenue from those platforms, things like that. So there's a couple different types of content that you'll see teams traditionally do. Easy softball one is competitive highlights. You got a player that clutches a 1v5 to win a map, to win a match, even. Throw that on socials, throw that on all your stuff. That's some easy engagement there. Or you could do more like lifestyle content. That could be anything from like, I guess, lifestyle and then also just like engaging fun content, right? So lifestyle behind the scenes vlogs, 100 Thieves Heist series did a good job of this. Optics, Vision, and oh geez, what do they call the new one? Whatever. But behind the scenes documentary style, like follow the story of the team through the season. I've done a couple of these myself. Did them when I worked with Manchester as a student, and then working on one now with Spalding. So just capturing what the players are doing, hearing their stories, telling those stories, so that fans and the audience can engage with the players on what feels like a more personal level. But then also you have content, just fun content, like uh, you could do trivias, film those all the time, Fortnite prop hunt, stuff like that. So looking at ways to just engage, make videos and stuff. Personality driven content can boost parasocial, not derogatory or in a bad way, connections. So you want you want some form of kind of parasocial relationship, but you don't want it to get bad. You want your fans to feel like they can relate to your players, but maybe not let it cross that line. But using your players as personalities is a good way to get there. And then, yeah, just high quality content can attract new fans and justify partnerships and everything that we talked about leading up to this. Another way that esports orgs can look to monetize who they are, what they are, is to run a business. So, 100 Thieves and High Ground is an example of this. Also, apparel sales and things. I think 100 Thieves is a good example of um, monetizing outside of your game, right? So they I mean, 100 Thieves was started as an apparel company. It was not started as an esports organization. So then they branched into esports from the apparel. So they kind of have always had that pillar of, oh geez, Windows. They've always had that kind of making money outside of their esports team and sponsorships and stuff like that, right? So then we have other ways to that would be they bought out High Ground, which is a gaming peripheral company that sells mouse pads, keyboards, mice. They do some like accessories and stuff for gaming. So it's a good way to blend fashion, tech, gaming with limited edition drops, high demand, and full brand synergy. Cool thing about this is 100 Thieves can do a content shoot with everyone using all of their High Ground stuff while using the new High Ground, but also release a merch capsule that ties into it. We've seen collaborations like this when they collabed with Halo. They had a Halo apparel line, mice and keyboards, and then did some videos. So really cool way to kind of do some activations and integrate there, which is something we'll talk about a little bit later with one of the projects that we do. But yeah, no, I mean, that diversifies their revenue and can strengthen their brand by having all of these different options and stuff like that. So some cool stuff there. Why it matters to have other things outside of just gaming. Esports is volatile. Tournament winnings are inconsistent and usually don't go to orgs. I'm a big believer that players should receive all prize money from tournaments that they play in. That should not go to anyone but the players and coach who earned it. So orgs really shouldn't generate revenue off of competition earnings. So owning a business and operating it can create a more sustainable, scalable income. It shows how esports are transforming into more than just gaming teams, but more into your lifestyle brands. You see FaZe, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, all doing this and branching out. That's what we're looking at for notes. We'll cover some of these things over the course of the next couple weeks as we look into monetization as a part of everything that's going on with your esports orgs. So yeah, discussion. A couple people have answered this already. So answer these in at least 3 to 4 complete sentences. What's the most memorable sponsorship that you remember from an esports team? Why? What is the best type of esports content in your opinion? Why does it work? And what is an example, not 100 Thieves and High Ground, I've given that to you, of an esports team also running a business and how they make money off of it and stuff. So pretty easy. Weekly discussion there. Remember that your org project 3 is due this weekend. So make sure that you're getting those facility analysis done. Couple parts there. I feel like we shouldn't be too hard. I think it would lay it out pretty much there for you, and there was a video posted with it to cover everything. So just don't forget to do it. Make sure that everything gets turned in on time. As we get closer to wrapping up the semester, it's going to be important that you turn everything in and you give your best effort, because there's not going to be options for revisions on some of those last projects because it's the end of the semester. Can't have you submitting revisions after grades are due. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out, and I hope you have a good day.